All right, it is Tuesday, July 20th. Here in the nation's capital, here on the John Riggins Show, a day in history that we're going to take you back 52 years ago. See if you remember where you were as we witnessed the first lunar landing in world history 52 years ago. 52 years ago today. Here's Riggo.
Thank you, Todd. Gee whiz, it seems to me, I thought maybe that was the following year. But I thought that the lunar landing, because I remember one of my friends, we were driving around in Centralia, and somehow at that point in time, we were already ahead of the curve. When I say ahead of the curve, actually, we were way behind the curve. We were in the dark ages. We just figured it was filmed in Arizona. Or something, it was like, in other words, it was the hope that this was a hoax.
There's lots of conspiracy theories out there. A lot of people
to this day, exactly.
100%.
Yeah, still don't believe that it happened. But it seemed to me that it was over the 4th of July weekend. So, but it would be about right now, and it probably was the same friend I'm thinking of. He was living in Centralia at the same time I was. And it would have been just shortly, this is like 3 weeks after the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Close to it.
Apollo 11.
Yeah.
With Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong reflected in his helmet visor.
Well, is he the one, Neil Armstrong, he's the one that said a giant one step for man and a giant step for mankind? Or is that a different?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, which was always
TJRS.
Everybody always trying to figure out, for a man, he forgot that qualifier.
Well,
one step for a man.
And he's very sexist back then, too. So, Neil, I think it should have just been, why couldn't it have been for womankind or people kind or citizen kind?
Humankind. Humankind.
Humankind. For the humanoids.
Yeah.
We kid because we like to poke fun.
Well, it was 50 years ago. A lot of things were different back in those days. What was I going to say? Well, we're in the middle of building a cement pond. I don't know if I've told you that. And they started the dig at the beginning, late last week. They started with the Bobcat, and then we had the backhoe in yesterday, or I should say the excavator, and finished it up.
I saw the big dig. I saw the big dig Sunday night.
That's right. You did see
Sunday night. That's pretty spectacular. But that's a cement pond that's going to be pretty special here.
The little lady decided she needed I guess she needs a swimming pool. For me, it'll always be a cement pond. I go back to Jed Clampett, the Beverly Hillbillies.
Well, you got a little spa action also going on.
Yeah,
in there.
you know what? The more I think about it, I'm going, this might turn out all right after all for the big guy. Because I'm getting to see like I've got a few more dents in me than I thought, and they're starting to, or I should say, I got a few more rust spots, and I get new ones by the day.
Harder to pound out.
I don't think so. I think this is just going to, I want to stay OEM, original equipment manufacturer. I want to stay OEM, but there's no guarantee. A lot of my teammates are, they got parts from China and God only knows where that they had to get, spare parts to keep going. But so far, I'm not of that ilk. And I'm hoping that, and I'm pretty sure that it probably will work out that hot tub, hey, if nothing else, I'll feel good. I feel good when I get out of it.
Feel good like James Brown, brother, back in the hot tub. Good God.
Yeah, we get in the hot tub.
All right, so Riggo, we wanted to tie in the lunar landing, when this is obviously by design by Jeff Bezos, Mr. Amazon, as they took off in Blue Origin this morning that I saw.
Mm-hmm. I heard when I called you, I heard 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking
your timing was impeccable, and I'm like,
right mid-second.
I was like, and it literally they started at 10, and it kind of got you going here because, I'm old. You remember the
what channel was it on? What were you
every channel.
What?
Every channel.
Seriously.
This is history. This was
I got to tell you something.
of a different kind.
Well, it is. I agree with you, but I also see it as complete. I can't. I'm kind of in a weird place.
Go ahead. You can say it. Narcissism.
No. My point is that. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's like in the part that I'm still kind of can't wrap my brain around is all the billionaires that want to spend $400K. I think that was on Branson's flight. Actually, on this flight, it was $28 million.
Yeah, they bid off one seat.
Huh?
They auctioned off one seat.
And the original buyer couldn't make it. And somehow it swapped out, but somehow
because I thought it was over. He gave it to his son.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
The original buyer gave it to his
Yeah.
son.
He was busy. He didn't know like this was,
Because the son was interested in space.
physics and
But what were they up there? 3 minutes? 4 minutes?
no.
They went a little higher than they said they were going to.
Yeah, I'll get into that and give you the play-by-play and why I changed. But your lack of concern or consideration.
Well, for me, and growing up as I did, I mean, this is always something that the government explored space. Private, in other words, it's a little bit kind of out there that people have developed enough individual wealth that they can create. Plus, I'm sure that with the technology that has been, the advancements in technology, that makes it cheaper. So that, because, before, how could anybody, an individual, put together a space program on their own? As some of these billionaires, Musk, Branson, and Bezos, or Bezos,
No question.
however he pronounces his name.
No question.
But I think to myself that this guy spent $28 million to send his son up in space. I mean, everybody gets to do what they want to do based on what they've, I guess, financially accomplished. But at the same time, you look at that and you go, that's $28 million to go along just for 5 minutes or whatever. I'm thinking could sure help out a lot of other people. It seems just like a boondoggle to me. Just for somebody to say, yeah, I've been in outer space, like, take some LSD, pal. You'll get out there as far as you need to be. In fact,
for a lot cheaper.
You might go a lot further, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I mean,
one take.
Huh?
That's one take. And you know what? I kind of fall on that side of the equation too. That a waste of money because
it's just so outrageous.
You and we're not going to be around by the time we're living in outer space, and they talk about the future value of what's in it through space exploration and the ability to live.
With these individuals, what they're doing.
Yeah, and to capture, they talked about the value. If you could capture an asteroid and all that it's the hundreds of billions of trillions that's worth. So
to capture
an asteroid.
What do you mean
to
capture
actually
it?
capture an asteroid, because there's asteroids flying around all over the place,
Right.
and the value of capturing one of those.
Well, what's the value in capturing?
I don't know, but
I mean,
heard it.
Is it like a gold chunk up there floating around?
Actually, potentially, yes, that it would
And bring it back with you?
Who knows where it captured? That's what I heard. Captured an asteroid.
But that's on film? I mean, what is it captured? Do you have it?
I think you got to bring it back to Earth.
Yeah, that's what I was
And then see
thinking.
what's going on. And who knows? Maybe it's a cure for, some deadly diseases.
Well, I guess, yeah, exactly. I guess from that standpoint, but there's that other aspect where
You're a rich asshole and you just don't like.
That's kind of the way that's the way it comes across, because it's really all about you. And we'll get to the science in a little bit, but hey, I don't know.
Well,
it's just my take.
Yes, and there's plenty of
Like I said, to
people
each his own.
Yeah, and it's not like these super uber wealthy people. And you're talking about on the entire planet of we're approaching 7 billion people that, they donate billions of dollars to charity and goodwill, and then they can do what they want with their money at the end of the day.
Well, whether they donate a dime or not, they get to do what they want with their money. I mean, it's their money. Everybody get stuff that you earned.
No question.
But that
about
doesn't mean that other folks can't look at you and wrinkle an eyebrow to go, wait, look askance to go. That's a little indulged. That's a little rich.
Sure. Well, I mean, and I don't care what you say. There are no guarantees in the space game as far as taking off and landing.
Yeah.
That's not like, we've gone from the Wright brothers and through all of that to how commercial aviation today is the safest mode of transportation, still by far versus automobiles and anything else. But what was unbelievable to me, and I did get that weird feeling watching them say, and you literally called when they were going 3, 2. Your timing was impeccable. I'm like, they're taking off. You're like, oh, wait a second.
I didn't know how to mood.
I said Blue Origin.
Mood killer.
Blue who?
Yeah,
Whatever.
Blue Origin. I know it is. And I knew it was Tuesday. And when I heard the 3-2-1, I had to go, he's watching the space blast.
Yeah, I did. And so you got the 4 people, Bezos and his brother, and Wally Funk, female pioneer who did not get to fly. And then you had the rich kid. Let's go with the rich kid. I'm sure Richie Rich is a nice young man and is going to grow to change the world.
I think he's from the Netherlands, isn't he?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah. But let me stop you right there. Look, Jeff, if you want to impress me, go bring back a chunk of Jupiter, okay? And I'll go. Yeah, you know. And then go right on past Mars, go right on past Saturn, and get a chunk of Jupiter. That would be interesting to see if they could get off of Jupiter, because I think Jupiter has 12 times the gravity pull that Earth does. It's something because it's so much bigger. I'm getting back into general science in high school.
Let's just keep quoting stuff that we don't know a lot about. We know enough to be passable, but...
Well, I know that's a fact, though. The bigger the planet, the more the gravity pulls.
And so what was stunning about this, going back to 69, which a lot of people still don't believe ever happened, and then, you know, the 86 Challenger and that unbelievably sad disaster that, you know, exploded up. And no matter how you cut it from this out in this land in Texas, when they're taking off, and dramatically different looking technology as you would expect from the rocket booster, and then what basically looked like a cap sitting on top of this water bottle was the actual compartment that they were housed in, with much bigger windows.
The space capsule?
Yeah. And it takes off and it's doing its thing. And this lasted less than, I believe, 12 minutes, start to finish. Now, they went up almost 67 miles. Into 67 miles.
Yeah, way past what Branson did.
Way past. And I forget the name. It's Caramine. Don't yell at me, physics folks.
But it's right at about 50 miles above the Earth's surface.
That it supposedly defines what is space. And then you see the rocket booster. Then it separates from two. The capsule separates, and then they pull over 3 Gs. And you see, you're watching the countdown or the altitude.
Which I don't think is a whole lot.
And what was remarkable to me, that then the rocket booster came back down to Earth, and it's not tumbling, it's not stumbling, it's not flaming. It came back down in semi-slow motion and landed like a marshmallow on this counter here, down to 1 mile an hour, and nailed the landing. Flames pouring out of the bottom of it because, you know, it's still... But showing you technology and what the chip and how it has affected and the calculations and the possibilities. Then the capsule's still up there. Again, start to finish, less than 12 minutes. They're up there in space, and you hear Bezos and them freaking out saying, "This is the greatest day of my life. This is unbelievable." And you're hearing their little chatter and play-by-play. And then they come back down, and you're watching the meter and the speed come back down, then the parachutes. 2 or 3 different sets of parachutes. And once again, it floated down and got down to less than 5 miles an hour
before
they touched down like a little marshmallow. And, you know, then the other thing, you know, I'm sitting there, then you see guys come running out with the ladder, and they waited 5-7 minutes or whatever, but they're touching. I'm like going, wouldn't that be like hot or something? I think like so. A pot holder or something.
Yeah,
maybe a little more sophisticated than that. But people are all gathering around, and John, they cranked open the thing and they walked right out. He had a cowboy hat on. In less than 12 minutes, they did that. So I was amazed by the technology and how far it's advanced. I do think that it would be the greatest waste of money ever to want to go and do that.
First of all, would you go up if you had an opportunity?
Nah,
if you get the phone call?
I'm not interested. If I got to do it for free, I'd think about it.
Yeah, I meant for free.
I'm not even sure. I don't know.
Well, I think the most incredible thing about this, with all due respect, is the fact that it was paid for, and he was one of the people on the flight by the king of junk mail.
Junk mail.
He likes to take photographs and send it to other folks. It's the king of junk mail. He is the king of junk mail.
Me. You actually forgot that little known secret.
Yeah.
National Enquirer happened to be right.
Yeah. Go figure that one.
And his honey was there waiting for him to come back down there. She's like, prenup, check.
Yeah.
Life insurance, check.
Yeah. I thought that what I said. Yeah, you know, when you look, I suppose, because I'm thinking that they must share information with the government. I mean, you know, the newly created Space Force, the next division of the military.
Well, that's just it, John.
General
You're seeing more
John
public-
Raymond, who's heads it up, the four-star general in the Air Force. That he's in contact with these same folks, with the Bezos and the what do you call it, Musks and Bransons of the world.
Because I think you're going to see more of these public-private partnerships that seem to flourish better than anything that the government does in of itself on its own. And that's through the advance of technologies. Before DARPA, which was behind all the advanced military research, that some of the greatest inventions have ever come out, which is sometimes the private sector is involved with the world's leading scientists, engineers, and people that have big brains. But you're going to see more of these public and private partnerships.
But here the weird thing is, and I don't know where, I know Branson, the guy that has, the airline, Virgin Airlines and Virgin Atlantic and all this stuff. I know that they seem to think, and I don't know if I think Musk is really more in it from a scientific angle.
Yes.
At the advancement of mankind and finding others. But Branson's looking at this from a commercial.
Party time.
A commercial
Who
thing.
wants to go party in space
for
with
for $400,000 a ticket,
right?
You get to go up. And that's the part, they think that's actually is a viable commercial operation, that there's that many people in the world with that kind of wealth that they could spend $400K for an 8-minute ride.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
It's basically an expensive.
It's actually like his flight was 4 or 5 minutes in space. They go up off the booster, the plane that took them up so high, then they take off, and then they just fly right on back down and land on Earth. Not unlike this, but this was actually like a moonshot. This was a rocket, the booster, the whole deal.
Yeah,
completely different. But I don't understand where they think that. And that to me is where I was leaning towards what I'm thinking of frivolous, to spend that kind of money. But once again, if you've made that much money and that's something that like on your bucket list or wish list, and you have the ability to do it, I guess you're free to do it. But good luck with that as far as selling future tickets to go to outer space.
The ultimate.
I guess there's more billionaires or millionaires out there than you realize.
Ultimate thrill ride, right?
I guess it would be up there, yeah.
Would you do it if somebody called you and say, "Hey, Riggo, like that"?
I'm like you. I might think about it. I know I've ridden in an F-16 and an F-4, and I got to say, I got to believe that, and I think I said that the other day when we were talking about the commode that does it all. I'm talking about that's the word awesome with the little letters, and you go for a ride in an F4 or an F16. That's awesome, all caps. But I got to believe that this has got to be along the same line, that once you get in there, and I remember that first reaction to that kind of power, and to be in something that is under control and that kind of power, literally is a smile that it is a reaction. You cannot get the smile off of your face.
That and the G's?
Yeah, well, I don't think we weren't pulling any G's at the time. We were just taking off. But the point is that I'm thinking in that rocket ship, everybody in that rocket ship, when that thing started coming up and finally hit it to where you could start to feel, and maybe you do start to pull some G's at that point. But I got to believe that there was like what's his name used to say, smiles all around?
Yeah.
But that had to be. I mean, it is that something like that is awesome. You can't take that away from anybody.
Hey, 17-year-old, good luck getting a bigger thrill than that. Okay, you got a long life ahead of you, big.
No kidding. Well, I guess he's going to have to keep up in that.
He should be able to.
He's going to have to do a spacewalk, and then he's going to have to land on a planet. Maybe he's got to go capture one of those asteroids.
Now, do you remember where you were in 1969 when this went down?
Mm-mm.
I just remember being a little boy and really not comprehending the magnitude of it, other than everybody was into it and how it permeated the news and all.
See, I don't even remember that, and this was nothing I was interested in. I was at that age, Todd. Who's going to buy the next six-pack? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, I was all of what? I wasn't even quite 21 years old. I was 20 years old, for crying out loud. I was still in college.
So sophomore, junior in college?
Yeah, I'd have been going into my senior year.
So 1969.
No, I'd been going into my junior year.
Okay, and here's some of the other things that were happening in 1969. Jog your memory. So you had the Vietnam War is still raging,
hot and heavy,
big time. The Zodiac killer is on the loose.
Kansas didn't get much on Zodiac. Remember, there was no internet back in those days.
Bill Russell's and the Celtics. They beat the Jerry West and the Lakers in the NBA Finals. The Brady Bunch is weeks away from making its debut on ABC.
They started in 69?
69.
Really?
And the #1 song in the country.
Who is the artist?
Zager and Evans.
No clue.
In the year 2525.
Really? They're out there with Kansas, dust in the wind.
And Woodstock was 1 month away.
Yeah, I missed Woodstock, too. I don't think I'd have went.
Unbelievable.
pretty
And
amazing.
what's also unbelievable is in the next 7 days.
Dust in the Wind was #1?
Oh, at one point, yes.
God, I thought that was a... No, not Dust in the Wind. You just said in the year 25.
25.
25. If man is still alive.
Yes. Which isn't that wild?
Now, see, those guys went on an acid trip, and then they wrote that music. So,
25, and 69.
yeah, I'm just saying.
It's all adding up.
Oh, you'll go even further than they could ever go.
So
Some good mushrooms. Oh, that's good for you.
within the next 7 days, all NFL training camps will have opened with rookies and free agents showing up, which is hard to believe as we sit here in
A little bit.
I
I have to say this, though, Todd, and I think you've heard me say it before. This time of year was the most depressing, and it goes way back to childhood, and I extended that for another, 14 or 15 years. It was always the most depressing time of year because it meant it was time to go back and play football. Now, I mean, and when I say that, I mean from the standpoint, you had to go to training camp. You had to go to two-a-days. You had to go, well, back here, it was, you had to go to Carlisle. When it was with the Jets, you went to Hofstra University, which was... I don't know, they're about the same thing where it's kind of like you're giving the county 30 days. It's like you got, they arrested you
Hard
for
work.
Shoplifting, I don't know, running a red light, trying to outrun the cops. You got to give the county 30 days. Which also coincides, if you recall, and I don't know if you were like this, but it was the same time, take it another month later in the middle of August, realizing school was starting up.
Yeah.
Talk about a depression. It was
Yeah.
like summer was so much fun, to get away from all that stuff. Teachers and people telling you what to do. Because I grew up with somebody who all they wanted to do was tell me what to do. That was my dad. So, and then, and like with football, of course, at the professional ranks, it wasn't that bad. But I mean, in college, it was like, you got to go in there, and these guys are just, you're never going to do anything right. I never did anything right in college, honest to God. I don't think one coach ever said, hey, you did good on that one.
Nice job.
Dude. Yeah, I don't think they ever did. It was always like, you dumbass, what were you thinking on that? Geez, that's stinko, goddamn, that's stinko. You ain't going nowhere. Oh, Tony Pleviak, you're going to be like poop on a wall. You're just going to slide off of him.
You remember the names?
Yeah, Tony Pleviak, he was a defensive end for the Illini. The Illinois, what is their... I can't even think of the Illinois. What's their mascot? University of Illinois. I can't think.
Aren't they the Fighting Illini?
Maybe that is it, the Illini. I think you're right.
I think that's it.
I guess a bunch of Irishmen, right? Is that what it is? Because if they're fighting, you're Irish as an Irishman. Let's get it going. But yeah, I mean, it was like so. But it's taken me this long. Finally, this time of year, I don't really care. I can go either way because I know I'm not going to Carlisle. I'm not going to give anybody 30 days.
You got Montauk on your mind.
I got Montauk on my mind. Oh, I got that cement pond on my mind. There's a lot. That cement pond is pretty trick, actually. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's one of these deals where the guy that's doing the whole thing, he's like, you ask him, I'd like to see the plans for, I'd like to see the electrical and the plumbing plans. And it goes, well, there's none of those. It's all up here.
See, Eric Von Zipper, it's all right here.
I'm going.
He gave himself the finger.
Okay, they say you build a great pool, but it's all right there.
How
right?
long is it supposed to take?
Well, we're in our second year, so you tell me. Not that the construction just started. There was a lot of there was a few snaggle pusses along the way.
I think there were negotiations.
They could have turned out better a little bit. We could have got started maybe a little bit sooner had there been a little bit better communications, perhaps. I don't know. But I'm guessing maybe, that maybe we'll use the pool by, what do we got, August, September? I'm going to say latter part of September, probably, be able to get into it. And October. There's going to be months in October or days in October where it'll be
Be
warm.
out there in the winter, man, heated.
Well, I think
hot tub?
January may be the one month where you got to shut everything down. But I think for the hot tub, I think can pretty much go year round almost. Pretty much. Well, they have those hot tubs in like Aspen. You see the snow coming down and people in
Norway,
the hot
Sweden,
tub.
all that good stuff. Yeah, it's very healthy.
That's going to be
Very
all right.
healthy.
I would personally have been me. I'd just build a hot tub, but hey. Let's just go with the hot tub, and then we'll add the pool onto the hot tub.
Lisa Marie.
I'm going cheapo.
All right, well, Cheapo.
Yeah, cheapo says that's it. I got to go and wriggle out. What can I tell you?